I think the point I am at this moment is really beautiful. That's true. The place where I am is actually beautiful, and something I like about where I'm located at this point is the amazing good air which is just flowing. Despite that this place is green, on the other side is wheat which has been planted here, and behind me there you can see there was some extraction of maram which was going on there, so but they have left the place. And behind me here is also wheat, but the further direction there is maize which is grown there. So I just can't imagine how refreshing to be at a place like this one. First, it's kind of you are hearing natural sounds, for instance, of birds, trees. That's the sound which you are hearing. There is no pollution. So I think that I have a story which maybe has influenced me to some extent in terms of my life. And this story is about how those people who are in low levels, I can say, or from humble backgrounds, as people are used to it. But I can say it's poor people from poor backgrounds, I being included or being one of them. I can give kind of a story, but it's not a story because it has been taken from Robert Kiyosaki's book. That is, I believe here it's somehow, at least, I believe here is somehow at least. So I'm going to take it from Robert Kiyosaki's book. That is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So this is only had a great influence on my life individually, and the way I started perceiving things in terms of money or in terms of richness or wealthiness and poverty or being poor has changed since I learned that book or since I read that book. Even though I've been also following him, that's Robert Kiyosaki, through various podcasts or YouTube channels plus his own YouTube channel. So what am I trying to talk? I believe not every individual can access wealth. That's true. But every individual is in that capacity to acquire wealth or to amass a fortune which can sustain him and give him a good lifestyle. But then what hinders us? What hinders us as individuals? What protects us? Salama?
Simu nimeangusha.
Sijaona simu. So that was a friend just asking me that he has somehow dropped our phone on the way. But at the same time he's drunk, so we need to continue our own story. So I was talking about poverty and richness or wealth. So there is a way in which we happen to perceive wealth, and there are ways in other people perceive wealth. So this book is amazing. I may be somehow going in another direction, doing what, because I'm kind of running out to tell a good story. So from this book I read that the way rich kids are brought up is totally different from how poor kids are brought up. I need to repeat that. The way which rich kids are brought up is totally different from the way poor kids are brought up. How does it happen? It's common, more especially those of us who have come from a poor background. It's a common thing for you if you happen to ask, maybe let's say you need a favor from your parents, like you need maybe a bicycle. Imagine you as a person, a young kid from your family, asking your parent. Maybe as a kid you can't understand that it's hard for your parents to afford that one. But now your parents, because he or she can't afford, start to reinforce or plant a seed of inadequateness. Your parent can end up telling you, I can't afford that bicycle. Do you think money is grown on trees? Those bicycles are only for the rich kids. You see, those are kind of seeds which your parents, more especially those of we who come from poor backgrounds, happen to be nurtured in. But in the way rich kids are nurtured, you can find a kid, for instance, maybe asking his parent, maybe I need a bicycle. His parent, in good faith, may not have the money to buy that bicycle, but he can't deny the kid the bicycle. But you can use other terms like, we can do something in order to afford that bicycle. Maybe at the moment I'm not in good condition to purchase the bicycle, but we are going to afford it in the near future. We need to do one, two in order to afford this bicycle. You see? So those are two different perspectives on how rich kids are brought up and how poor kids are brought up. That's what I learned from that book. That's Rich Dad Poor Dad. And also another important topic or idea I learned from Rich Dad Poor Dad, this book, is we as poor people, or those poor individuals, we have different terms, and the rich or the wealthy ones have different terms. For instance, a rich person can define a car as an asset. I said a rich person, not a rich person, but a poor person can define a car as an asset. But the rich person, the wealthy person, he understands that a car is not an asset. It's actually a liability. You see? You as a poor person, you are defining a car as an asset, but a wealthy person, a rich person, defines the same car as a liability. So, since you as a poor person, you have a different definition of what an asset is, you may end up buying a car while you thinking it's an asset. But in the real sense, it's a liability. Because if it was an asset, you could have been rich. Also, priorities. What do rich people prefer to buy? What do rich people prefer to buy? For instance, a rich person can buy an asset. That's a real estate. And also, you can buy, for instance, gold. But it depends if this thing is an asset or liability according to rich person. You can buy good shares from a growing small company, but you as a poor person, you can't buy real estate. You will go and buy a home, which in the real sense is a liability, but because you have a different definition of what an asset is, you end up buying a house as an asset. Also, this makes a whole different world of what happens between the rich people and the poor people. This cultivates the large gap which is happening. I'm almost lost, which happens between the rich and the poor. So I believe from my own story, even though maybe I've not given it somehow in clear terms, but what I want to say is that we as people, more especially those who are from humble backgrounds, we need to learn from what rich people are doing. We need not to hold to our own old beliefs, which has brought us this far. We are languishing in poverty. We are struggling in poverty. We need to avoid those beliefs and ask the rich people, how have they done it? What did they understand different? What perception did they have that changed their financial situations? So that's it. And we need not to be jealous of rich people, but we need to ask them how they did it. So for me, my name has been Monsieur Augustine. I was just giving you a brief kind of a story about what I learned from Robert Kiyosaki, and maybe my story may inspire you to read this book. And I believe through I sharing this story, I may be in a capacity to implement what I learned from this book. But for now, if it's the first time you are here, remember to subscribe. If you are a returning subscriber, remember I appreciate you so much for taking your time to share my video or to watch my video. I would also ask you or request you to share my video and also give it a thumbs up. And see you in my next video. I appreciate you so much for taking your time, and I appreciate everything you are doing. See you in my next video.